Okay, so I gotta ask, have you ever heard of a job that's like everywhere and nowhere at the same time?
Um, is this a riddle?
Kind of. It's like you see it all over LinkedIn, right?
Uh,
Company websites, they're always hiring for it. But then try to actually pin down what they do.
okay, yeah, I see where you're going with this. I'm intrigued.
It's the business analyst.
Yeah.
Super common title, but what's the deal with these folks? That's what we're diving into today.
Business analysts, the ever-present mystery.
Mm.
And yeah, I've definitely encountered some confusion around the role.
Right. So we've got a stack of articles and research here, and they all agree on one thing. Business analysts, they're like the secret sauce for companies that are killing it.
Yeah, no, I've got to agree with that. Though I will say, even for someone like me who's been in the business world for a while, the role can be kind of hard to pin down. It's like, what exactly does a business analyst do all day?
Totally. And our sources, they don't hold back. They call them the linchpin, essential to success. Big claims, right?
For sure. So how about we break it down? If we were going to shadow a business analyst for a day, what would we actually see them doing?
That's the million-dollar question. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I think it's important to address the elephant in the room. Our research suggests that a lot of people are doing business analyst type work, but they don't actually have business analyst in their job title, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Hmm.
like the skills of a business analyst, they're kind of woven into the fabric of so many different roles.
Exactly. So, like system analysts, product owners, even project managers, they're all doing some level of business analysis, even if it's not their official title.
Right. And that's where things can get a little, shall we say, interesting. Because on the one hand, it's amazing that these analytical skills are so widely applicable.
Totally. But on the other hand, if everyone's defining the role differently, doesn't that create a recipe for confusion and maybe even like projects going off the rails?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, imagine a kitchen where everyone's using different measurements for, like flour and sugar. Your cake is never going to turn out right. That's why, even though the role can be a bit fluid, having some kind of shared understanding, a common language for business analysis, is absolutely essential. And that's where things like the Bebop Guide come in.
The B-Buck guide. That sounds kind of official.
It is. Think of it like the rulebook for business analysis. It outlines best practices, techniques, standards, all that good stuff. So not just some made-up title. There's actual, like, codified knowledge behind it.
Okay, so that makes sense why it's so important to have that shared understanding. Now, for our listeners who are thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but I'm not planning on becoming a business analyst anytime soon, why should they care about any of this?
That's a great question. I'd say there are two major takeaways for everyone, regardless of your job title. First, even if you're not a business analyst, chances are you'll be working with one at some point, or at least someone who's doing that kind of work.
Right, like it's kind of unavoidable in the business world these days.
Exactly. So understanding what they do, the value they bring to the table, it just makes you a better colleague, a better client. You'll be able to collaborate more effectively and just get stuff done.
Love that. What's the second takeaway?
Remember those core skills we talked about? Analysis, communication, problem solving. Those are valuable in any field. Think of this deep dive as a little nudge to think about your own skills. How strong are your analytical abilities? Could you benefit from, like, upping your game when it comes to breaking down complex problems?
It's like a business analyst mindset.
Exactly.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to chew on, no matter what your role is. If so many different jobs involve at least some business analysis, what can you do within your own team or organization to make sure everyone's on the same page? How can you create that shared understanding, that common language to really maximize everyone's success? Food for thought.